तुंगभद्रातीरवासी श्रीमद्विद्याशंकरपादपद्माराधका श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्रीमदभिरव विद्यातीर्थवः स्वामी गुरुकरकमल संजाता श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्री भारती तीर्थवः स्वामिनां तत्करकमल संजाता श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्री विदुशेखर भारती महास्वामिनां च अनुगृहीतोऽयं श्री शारदा चन्द्रमौळीश्वर स्वामिनः प्रसादेन यजमानस्य चिन्तित सर्वाभीष्टबलावाप्तिरस्तु सर्वस्याप्त्यै सर्वस्य जित्यै सर्वमेव तेनाप्नोति सर्वं जयति सद्यात्महव्यैर्नमसोपसद्या मित्रं देवं मित्रधेयन्नो अस्तु अनुराधान् हविषा वर्धयन्तः शतं जीवेम शरदः सवीराः।
Now I request Dr. Kalyan Ramamurthy to honor our guest with the Pushpamala.
रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना। भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् Bhaktāmṛtam parakala yatindra mishran Srimad Parankushamunim pranatosmi nityam. Akhila bhuvana janmasthema bhangadi vinara vivida bhuta vrata rakshaika dikshe Shruti shirasi vidipte brahmani Srinivase bhavatu mama parasmin shemushi bhakti rupa Parasharya vachasudham sumanasaha dugdhabdi madhyodhritam samsaragni viripana vyapagata pranatma sanjeevani Purvacharya surakshitam bahumatim vyaghata durasthitam anitam tu nijaksharaihi sumanasaha bhauma pibantvanvaham Vasude Vasutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Vande Vrindavanacharam Vallavi Janavallabham Jayanti Sambhavandhama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam Vacham Nijanka Rasikam Prasam Ikshamanaha Vaktraravinda Viniveshita Panchajanyaha Varanatrikona Ruchire Varapundarike Baddhasano Jayati Vallabha Chakravarti Amnaya Gandharudhita Spuritadarustham Atsla Vilekshana Manukshata Mandahasam Gopala Dimbavapusham Kuhana Jananyaha Pranasyarandanamavaini Parampumamsam Avirbhavatya Nibhrita Bharanam Purastat Kunchitaika Charanam Nibhritanyapadam Dadhana Nimanta Mukharena Nibaddhatalam Nathasya Nanda Bhavane Navanita Natyam Hartum Kumbhe Vinhitakaraha Swaduhayyangavenam Drishtvadama Grahana Chatula Mataram Jatarosham Payadishat Prachalitapado Napagachanna Tishthanya Mithya Gopaha Sapadinayane Nilayan Vishwagupta Vrajayoshitapangavedhaniyam Madhurabhagyam Ananyabhogyamide Vasudeva Vadhustanandayam Tat Kimapi Brahma Kishora Bhavadrishyam Bahudvandvena Ratnojvala Valaya Bhrita Shonapani Pravale Nupata Venuna Prasrita Nakhamayukangulim Sangasharam Kritva Vaktraravinde Sumadhura Vikasadaragamudbhavyamanayi Shabda Brahmamritayi Tvam Shishirita Bhuvanaihi Sincha me karnavithi. Namasadase, Namasabhaye. With the abundant blessings of Paramatma Shriyapati, we have gathered in this very premises, blessed by the benign blessings of the Ubhay Gurus of Sringeri, both Sri Mahasannidhanam and Sannidhanam. This week we chose strictly 4 weekdays: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, a handful of them were a bit worried that it is weekdays, even when festivals are celebrated on weekends. How come discourses are held on weekdays? That I have to return to Bharata Desham in another 4 days, to a country whose economy is living. I had little time, so with of course, the magnanimity of the committee members in SVBF North, Detroit, we have the lectures held on 4 days. Day 1 and day 2, we had Adi Shankara's famed compositions, one Kanakadhara, the second Bhajagovindam, discussed very briefly. Day 3, which was yesterday, the penultimate day in the series, we had the Saubhagyam to speak about one of Krishna's greatest friend, who was Krishna. So we discussed about Draupadi, and today being the last day, I was asked to speak on the Gītā. Why am I saying asked to speak? Because generally I try avoiding the Gītā. In the 4 granthas that in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam that we have to learn under the Asadacharya, I had the Saubhagyam to read, learn Bhagavad Gītā with its Bhashyam. So there are 4 granthas. One is called Sri Bhashyam, second is called Gītā Bhashyam, third is Rahasya Traya Saram, fourth is Bhagavad Vishayam. These are the 4 granthas in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam which a person has to learn under an Acharya Purusha to rise up to the ladder of being an Upanyasaka. So these are very 4 important Mahagranthas, of which the first is a commentary on the Brahma Sutras by Bhagavad Ramanuja. It is called Sri Bhashyam. Second is a commentary on the Bhagavad Gītā by Bhagavad Ramanuja, which is Ramanuja's Gītā Bhashyam. Alongside Gītā Bhashyam, we also learn the commentary to this commentary. So Ramanuja's is a commentary on the Gītā. There is a commentary on Ramanuja's commentary called Tatparya Chandrika by Swami Vedanta Deshika. So we have to learn these 2 commentaries on the Gītā under an Acharya Purusha. Followed by that are 3 Rahasyas taught in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam called Ashtaksharam, Dvayam, Charama Shlokam, which is called Rahasya Trayam. There is a 32 chapter big monumental work of Vedanta Deshika called Rahasya Traya Saram that we have to learn. And 1000+ verses in chaste Tamil, which is believed to be the Dravida Veda, called Thiruvaimozhi by Swami Nammalvar, has 8 commentaries in the Manipravala language that we have to learn for roughly about 2 years under an Acharya. So of the 4 granthas, Gītā Bhashyam, I had the Saubhagyam to learn under an Acharya called Shetlur Payyambadi Srivatsangachar Swami, who was the erstwhile principal of the Madras Sanskrit College. Very many times my Acharya who taught me Gītā Bhashyam had the opportunity to have multiple conversations with the Paramacharya of Sri Kanchi. So he was the principal of Madras Sanskrit College, and after his retirement, in his last few years, I had the Saubhagyam to go learn Gītā Bhashyam. It's been over, I don't know, some 15 years now since I learned Gītā Bhashyam, 14-15 years. Then when you have learned Gītā Bhashyam under an Acharya, why did you say that you generally avoid Gītā? Right? These are 2 contradictory statements. If you have learned, you should speak. Because in my humble opinion, IMHO, Bhagavad Gītā is the very essence of Dharma in a way. And it is one of the primary constituents of our Prasthanatrayam, which has come from Bhagavan's Kantha. It holds immense significance. Else, why will an Adi Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Deshika keep on commenting on it? It is a very important work and an easy work to misinterpret. If it gets into the wrong hands, it has immense scope, it will give immense scope for misinterpretation. So though I have learnt it under a Sadacharya, my first worry was I should not end up misinterpreting it. when I throw the blame on others, niravadhi gunagrame rame niragasi vagasi spuranamushita loka loka vadanti sadantike valatanuhitam validroham managapasarpanam, says Vedanta Deshika. A commoner, if you ask him to speak on Sanatana Dharma, first thing is they will have 100 mistakes on Rama. They will say, why did he do Agni Pariksha? Why did he abandon his pregnant wife in the first trimester? Why did he do this to Shambhuka? Why did he shoot an arrow on Vali when he did not have a direct conflict with Vali? Why did he take a step back while he was fighting Kharadushana in Janasthana? So Vedanta Deshika says, you are excellent in finding faults. Niravadhi gunagrame rami niragasi vagasi spuranamushita loka loka vadanti sadantike valatanuhitam validroham managapasarpanam. Then he says, Deshika says, you have found so many mistakes. Haven't you found any in you? We speak as if we are faultless and blemishless, and we decide on how Rama should be or Rama acts. Freedom of expression has also some caveats and riders, even in a thriving democracy. So this is what Deshika says. So my worry was when I say that Gītā could be misinterpreted, and I end up giving lectures which could be misinterpretation in nature. That is my first worry. Second, in my humble opinion, again, this is my opinion, Gītā and the discourses on Gītā should come after a lot of experience in one's life. And it should come with a lot of practice in one's life. I should do the anushtanam first and then have the audacity to preach. Because preaching is very easy. You know, if you have the art of public speaking and you can sense the pulse of the audience, you can give a 2-hour nice lecture, receive some nice kudos and accolades from the audience and leave. But that is not the purpose of a dharmic lecture. I am not here to this is not an election speech, right? I am not going to garner votes even if I stand for an election. My own audience will not give me votes. So, the second worry was, it is Bhagavan's great Vakyam and I have no experience. So that is my general worry where I avoid Gītā. But SVBF North ensured that somehow they have to give me this topic. So they have given Gītā to me, and Gītā is a compendium of 700 verses with to and fro. Arjuna asks, Krishna answers. And this is distributed into 18 chapters. So there are Ashtadasha Adhyayas, 18 chapters, 700 verses, Sapta Shatam. So we have 700 verses, 18 chapters, housed in the Mahabharata. To explain every verse and the context is not possible. Even to recite the verses will take about 3 hours. Forget explanation. 700 verses, Parayanam alone will take 2.5 to 3 hours. So where will I explain? So I will explain certain facets of it, some which are anecdotal in nature, some which could be preaching in nature from Krishna. I don't think I am preaching. So, first of all, Bhagavad Gītā has a dhyana shloka. There are very many dhyana shlokas. One, the famous one, Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gītāmṛtam Mahat. This is one dhyana shloka, very famous one. This dhyana shloka suggests that when people were not vegans and they were consuming cow milk, the mother cow would be brought in front of the house. Suppose if I am staying in that house, I didn't have to go to a market and buy 2 gallons of milk and come. The cow will come. But the cow will come with its family, its calf. So technically the belief was the cow's milk is reserved for its calf. But it is also often said by people who nurture cows and nourish cows that the calf wouldn't know exactly how much to consume. We too have that problem. So we wouldn't know how much to consume, like the calf. So the calf will consume the milk of the cow, and the person who is nurturing the cow and the calf, who is maintaining them, would at the right juncture stop the calf from consuming the milk. He knows beyond this, if it consumes, the calf may not have a great stomach. There will be some digestion problems. He will stop. Then he will clean that place and get the milk out of the cow and give it to the house. So technically you didn't have to be a vegan, because the veganism concept, one of the principles itself is the cow's milk is meant for the calf. That is the basic principle. Here you have served the calf in front of you. So what milk is left is given to the household. Now the Dhyana Shloka suggests that if all the Upanishads are personified together as one cow, can Upanishad is a book, sir. How can you personify a book as a cow? Upanishad is also treated as a stree. The first shloka of the 100th dashakam of Bhattatri is Agre pashyami tejo nivida tarakala yavali lobhaniyam piyusha plavitoham tadanu tadutare divya kaishoravesham tarunya rambha ramyam parama sukha rasaswada romanchitangaihi avitam naradadhyaihi vilasad Upanishad Sundari Mandalaischa. Upanishad Sundari. We know Sundari. We know Upanishad. Who is this Upanishad Sundari? Correct. We know Sundari. Sundari Niyam, Sundari Jnanam. Then Arani Sundari. This is Upanishad Sundari. Upanishad is treated as a lady. And we have very many Upanishads. Prachina Acharyas like Trimata Acharyas, Adi Shankara, Bhagavad Ramanuja and Madhvacharya, the Trimata Acharyas, have deemed 10 plus 5, 15 Upanishads as very important Upanishads. Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Munda means Mundaka, Mandukya, Taitiriya, Aitareya, Brihadaranyaka, Shvetashvatara. 10 हो गया. बाकी 5 छांदोग्य, महानारायण, सुबाला, कौशितकी and mantrika. 10 plus 5, 15 Upanishads. Their sentences and mantras will be time and again referenced in all their commentaries. So these are the 10 plus 5, 15 Upanishads. Now all these Upanishads have to be personified as a cow. So the cow is equal to 15 Upanishads. That is the equation. There has to be a calf. I told you 3.5 minutes back. So the calf has to come. So the one who came as a calf was Arjuna. Arjuna is the calf. 15 Upanishads is the cow. One cow. Calf is Arjuna. Now Arjuna has to get milk. That is the rule, right, as per this concept. So he got the milk. If Upanishads is the cow, Arjuna is the calf, milk is what he received in the Gītā. Gītā is the milk. Then there should be some person who manages the cow and calf, who should tell, calf, lelo. He has to tell that, right? So that was Krishna. The person who managed the cow and calf and directed the calf to consume the milk was Krishna. He knows when to stop Arjuna from consumption. He has got the start and stop button. Then the remaining milk has to remain, right? Arjuna has consumed, the milk has to come. That milk was given in a bottle to the world. We are the consumers. Sarvopanishado Gavaha. All the Upanishads is the cow. Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha, the one who gets the correct milk at the right time for the calf's consumption is Krishna. Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. Who is the calf? Partho Vatsaha, calf. Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham. This milk which was enjoyable is Gītāmṛtam Mahat. So Gīta is that Amritam, says the Dhyana Shloka. So we have understood that Upanishad Saram is Gīta. But there are still a lot of pending questions hovering over us. What instant or what was the situation that led to the Yuddham? Because Krishna could have stopped it, right? Many people want to stop many Yuddhams. They want to be the mediator. So Krishna could have mediated and got an award. Right? Krishna wanted to broker. I have mediated between Pandavas and Kauravas. I have settled the Yuddham. They will not fight. Else I will not work with them. He could have said, did he work towards it? Yes. When we look at Sri Mahabharatam, see, Bhagavad Gītā is not one separate entity. It is found within the Mahabharata. Many of us may have this question. Can Mahabharata be kept in our house? Can it be read? One version is, don't keep, because Mahabharata means fight. Then if you keep Mahabharata, you will fight. What if you already fight? Without having the Mahabharata Yuddham, there are households which appear like Kurukshetra. So what do we do then? Then you can buy the Mahabharata and teach Mahabharata how to fight. Right. So Mahabharata's first myth has to be busted, that Mahabharata should not be read or kept. Then, ideally you should not read Ramayanam as well. 5,000 verses is Yuddha Kandam. How will you read that? Aditya Hridayam is within Yuddha Kandam. You should not read. Tato Yuddha Parishrantam. Don't read. So Ramayanam should not be read because it has Yuddha Kandam. You should not read Bhagavad Gītā. First of all, it is found within the Mahabharatam, delivered on the war field. You should not read them. You should not read Vishnu Sahasranama because that is also found in the Mahabharata. So the second myth that needs to be busted is, we should not read Mahabharatam. That needs to be busted. We should. Mahabharatam is a treasure trove. In that treasure trove, we have 18 parvas. The first parva is called Adi Parva. Followed by Adi Parva comes the second parva, which is called as Sabha Parva. After Sabha Parva is what I discussed yesterday. Adi Parva, some parts of it. Sabha Parva is where the Dyuta Krida happens, gambling. Third is Vana Parva, when they go on an exile for 12 years to the forest. That is Vana Parva. If you remember, I mentioned, referenced about Yaksha Prashnam. Yaksha Prashnam is found towards the end of Vana Parva. They had to serve 1 year of incognito, which is called Ajñātavāsam. That 1 year is called Virata Parva. So we have got 4: Adi, Sabha, Vana, Virata. Now they returned. After 12 plus 1, they have to return. Towards the end of Virata Parva, there is a Yuddham that happens because Kīchaka is dead. I am giving you the context. There is a person called Kīchaka, a man of poor character, who wanted to misbehave with Draupadi, but Bhima ended killing him. So his death, the news of his death reached all newspapers. So that newspaper cutting was forwarded to Duryodhana. Duryodhana, as usual, he generally can't think. He forwarded that to his briefing team, which is Shakuni. So that Shakuni read and said, Duryodhana, if Kīchaka is killed, somebody as powerful as you must have killed him. If you have not, then it must be Bhima. If that is the region where Kīchaka is dead, then we should fight them so that the Pandavas get out of the incognito. Suppose we spot them before the 13th year ends, they have to repeat 12 plus 1. It will be a loop. I don't know if you know this, there used to be this algorithm. There will be a diamond box. Then you will have to repeat. It will go called this loop. So that is when the entire Kaurava Sainyam went towards Matsya Desha to fight Virata Raja. That is when his son, a poor little boy, he said, I will go and fight. His name was Uttara Kumara. Uttara Kumara left on his chariot. That is when intelligently Sairandrika, she was a hairdresser. Her name, she was a Sairandrika, she was Draupadi. She intelligently said, please send Brihannala as the charioteer. Uttara Kumara said, what will this Brihannala do? She teaches Takadimi Takajunu dance. What will I do with Takadimi Takajunu dance? Take. So Brihannala rode the chariot, looking at the entire Kaurava Sainyam with Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, Karna, Vikarna. This Uttara Kumara started shivering. He said, Ghar jate hain. I will watch Never Have I Ever 4th season. Why should I stay here? I will go. That is when Brihannala said, wait, take me to a Smashana Bhumi. Uttara Kumara said, if I fight them, I will eventually have to go to Smashana Bhumi. Why are you showing me the end result now itself? He said, leke jao. Arjun, Uttara Kumar. So Uttara Kumara took Brihannala, and Brihannala said, there is a dead body lying in the Shami Vriksha. What is this? You're coming to a Smashana Bhumi, asking me to take a dead body. He said, take the dead body. When they opened the dead body, it was full of the divine ayudhams of the Panchapandavas. So Brihannala lifted the Gandhivam with the quiver of arrows. And this Uttara Kumara said, first of all, why are you using bow and arrow? You should have only jati, right? Takadimi, attakajano, attakadimi, takajano. You should do that. What will you do with this bow? He said, I am the owner of this bow. It looks like a divine bow. Who are you? I am Arjuna. Hey, come on, joke mat karo. That is when there is a shloka in Virata Parva. He asks, tell me the 10 names of Arjuna to Arjuna. Tell me your 10 names. He said Vijaya, Godakesha, Sabyasachi. He tells all the 10 names. Then he falls at his feet. Uttara Kumara says, now you fight. They left for the battlefield. The sun was just about to set, and the 13th year was coming to a conclusion. So from the Brihannala Shariram, Arjuna acquired his original form. He single-handedly fought all these Maharathas and sent them home. That is why there is a Prachina Shlokam, Godrahana Kalam. You don't have to wait for Mahabharata Yuddham to happen. This man single-handedly vanquished all of them from Bhishma. They all went home. Then Uttara, the Raja's Putri called Uttara, was to be married to Arjuna. He said, Arjuna, you marry. Arjuna said, see, she is my student. If teachers end up marrying their students, then parents will be worried to send their children to school. So I cannot marry my student Uttara. I will get her married to my son Abhimanyu. So Abhimanyu marries Uttara. So Virata Parva is over. Now they all return. Now ideally Indraprastha should have been given back. But you know Duryodhana, he will not give. He said, no, I spotted you at 5:49 p.m. itself before the 13th year ended. And Shakuni said, ha, maine bhi mere watch mein tha. That is when Bhishma said, see, you have looked at the wrong time zone. We were fighting in the eastern time. Looking at a different time zone. Galat dekh liya Duryodhana. But Duryodhana was not ready to listen. He somehow manipulated in his father and his family that we should not return. Indraprastha. So now these Pancha Pandavas and Draupadi had to settle in Draupadi's father's house, Kampilya Nagaram of Drupada. That is when, in order to convince that opposite party, they send one Brahmana as the Duta. Now this is where the 5th Parva begins. It is called Udyoga Parva. So this Brahmana goes and says, give back that land. They slap him and say. Then finally they don't know. So Krishna says we should use war as the last weapon. Then people say, when he has been slapped, who will go? Krishna said, I will go. Krishna left. He goes as the Duta of Pancha Pandavas, tries to impress upon Duryodhana, who is incorrigible, irreversible and irreparable. He doesn't seem to listen. Krishna returns empty-handed. Now when Krishna returns to Dwaraka, that is when there is this beautiful incident, which is a very famed one, that Shakuni said, Duryodhana, you go seek Krishna's help now. Duryodhana asked, what is the basis? Shakuni said, he is your Sambandhi, because Duryodhana's daughter was married to Krishna's son Shamba, and Duryodhana's daughter were married, so they were Sambandhis. He said, go ask your Sambandhi. Sambandhis are generally good friends, even if their children are not. So, he will help. So Duryodhana came, and so did Arjuna. That is the famed incident where Duryodhana was seated near Krishna's head. Arjuna was near the feet. One was given the entire army. F-35, S-400, all that was given. The other side, Krishna was there. So he said, I will be there. Then there was an appendix attached to that boon, that Krishna should not lift any weapon. So Shakuni had decided that he had cornered Krishna. All his army is with them, all the ammunition is with them. Krishna cannot lift any weapon. So what will Krishna do? Play flute on battlefield. Sabhi look, in 5-star hotels there will be one background music. So Krishna, you all keep fighting, I will play Kalyani, Varani. What will he do? He can't fight, no army, no Ayudham. This was what Shakuni thought, but Krishna was super intelligent. He said, Arjuna, send your existing charioteer on casual leave. I will become your charioteer. Right. This was arranged. This is where there is a lesser known incident in the Udyoga Parva. Now Shakuni tried to corner Krishna. Now Dhritarashtra on his side, he tried to do one trick. He asked his charioteer come advisor called Sanjaya. Sanjaya had the blessing of Vyasacharya. He said, Sanjaya, tum ek baar Dwaraka jaake dekh lo कि कान्हा को हम कुछ something दे देंगे. He said, we will give something to Krishna. Whatever he likes, we will pay him. And we will get him onto our side. Even if he is not fighting, even if he is not using weapons, let's corner the Pandavas by bringing Krishna to our side. Sanjaya knew this was a very bad idea. But when your leader gives some bad ideas, even if your salary comes from him, you have to keep nodding your head. So he said, okay, main dekh ke aata hu. So he went. He left Dwaraka. In Dwaraka, Krishna realized he is sarvavyapi sarvantaryami gatva sandipani matha chatusashti ratri mahobhihi sarvajnastvam sahamusalina sarvavidya grihitva putram nashtam yamanilayanat ahritam dakshinartam datva tasmai nijapuramagat nadayan panchajanyam, says Bhattatri, gatva sandipani atha chatusashti ratri mahobhihi sarvajnastvam. He knows everything. So what he did that day in Dwaraka was he informed the receptionist. Is this term very common here? Receptionist, what do you say? Operator? Front desk. Okay, front desk. He informed the front desk. Krishna said, front desk, front desk. If someone comes inquiring about meeting me or speaking to me, tell them I'm very busy. I'm very busy. You can keep that status also, I am busy now, can't talk. So that was the message. So the front desk operator, whoever would come, they would say, no, he's very busy. All the brothers came, Nakula Sahadeva and all came. Now where was Krishna? Krishna was in his presidential suite, Antavpuram. In his Antavpuram, he was talking to his close friend Arjuna. In the same Antavpuram with Arjuna and Krishna, where Krishna's wife was Satyabhama, and Arjuna's Patni Draupadi. 4, 2 men, 2 women. Krishna, Arjuna, Satyabhama, Draupadi. 4. This is there, no? Udyoga Parva. But nobody was allowed inside. 5th person was not allowed inside. Sanjaya came. He walked all the way from Hastinapura and came to Dwaraka. He told the front desk operator in Dwaraka, front operator Che. He's in Gujarat now. So came Cho, Majama, I have come here. Bata Che. She said, he's very busy. Aaj nahi meet karenge. Sanjaya said, please just tell him Sanjaya has come. What did Krishna do? Very intelligent formation he did. This is there in the Bharatam. Check. On the grand bed on which all 4 of them were seated, Krishna suddenly laid to rest. He was resting. He extended his legs and said, Arjuna, come here. Arjuna came. You sleep? Why? I am not sleepy now. Sleep. मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, you have to sleep perpendicular to my direction. So Krishna was sleeping in one direction. Arjuna was in the perpendicular direction. Krishna put both his legs on Arjuna's thigh. Imagine that scene. Now Arjuna's 2 legs that were extending, one leg was placed on the lap of Satyabhama, the other leg on the lap of Draupadi. They were seated. So 2 women are seated. Each of their laps had one leg of Arjuna. And Krishna's legs were extended on Arjuna's thighs. You can imagine that scene. Now he said, send Sanjaya. Sanjaya entered the room. He saw what had he come for, to impress upon Krishna, asking what you want. We will pay in whatever currency you want, we will pay. Jitna bolo, hum de denge. Now he saw this scene, how they were sleeping. After a few seconds, Krishna asked Sanjaya, extremely late to have you amidst us. So tell me what I can do for you. Sanjaya said, nothing, sir. Thank you. That's all. This was the scene. He went to Hastinapura. After reaching Hastinapura, Dhritarashtra, how will Duryodhana's father be? Whoa, what did Krishna say? What did you see? Sanjaya took some time and he said, Yatra Krishnauscha Krishnascha Satyabhamacha Bhamini Dhritarashtra, in front of my eyes I saw one position of Krishna with Arjuna, with Draupadi and Satyabhama. Yatra Krishnauscha, which is Krishna. Krishnascha Draupadi, Satyabhamacha Bhamini. Okay, you saw that scene. What else did you see? Sanjaya says, in that bed, I saw the dead bodies of your 100 children. I know what the result of this Mahabharata Yuddham is. It is over. Why? The commentator in Bhavadipa says, if a person is letting another man and a woman inside his bedroom and makes them sit on his bed, imagine how trustworthy that person will be. Krishna treated Arjuna and Draupadi very close to his heart. For us it may seem, how can he extend his leg? Arjuna, how can he keep the leg on somebody else's wife? Did you think or not? For a second. Did you think or not? Correct? You thought? If a person is allowing his wife's thigh to support the leg of his friend, how much he must trust in him. If that is the trust Krishna has on Arjuna, then surely this war will not be in your favor. This was Sanjaya's conclusion. Yatra Krishnauscha Krishnascha Satyabhamacha Bhamini. Result over. Now the Yuddham begins. In that Yuddham, the first day, because after Udyoga Parva comes Bhishma Parva. Bhishma Parva's first is Bhagavad Gītā. So on that opening day, when Bhagavad Gītā Upadesham has to begin. Because Dhritarashtra is very worried, he is very anxious, he wants to know what is happening on the Yuddha Bhumi. He cannot go and fight, he is blind. That is when Bhagavad Gītā opens with the verse of not Arjuna or Krishna, with Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yujutsavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Akurvata Sanjaya. He is looking at Sanjaya and saying, Sanjaya, tell me, what should I tell? In Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Bhagavad Ramanuja's commentary on Bhagavad Gītā is like a grand ornament. Ramanujarya Bhashyam Gambhiraya. The way he opens up the first chapter. He says in the first verse itself, the character. See, this is where I told you, Bhagavad Gītā is not easy. Holding one book, listening to a few MP3 files will help no purpose. Because if somebody asks, see, you could be giving lectures. If somebody says, why is Kurukshetram called Dharma Kshetram? He says, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Why? Other places are not Dharma Kshetram, is it? See, this is how you should ask logically in Sanatana Dharma. In Dharma, you cannot say, don't question. If you ask, I will cut your head. In Sanatana Dharma, it won't work. You have to ask. If somebody asks, you say every Kshetram is important. Why? Tirupati is important. That is also Dharma Kshetram. Yeah, when you have 2-3 children, this son, he is my first one, extremely good. What will the other 2 people think? Am I not good? Right. He should have just said Kurukshetre. Why is it Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre? This is where commentaries become important. There is an anecdote. Parashurama went on a spree, killing all Kshatriyas who were causing death. See, there is a Charitram during Ramavatara Kalam. Just a few years before Rama. Not exactly, I don't know how many years. He was a contemporary but older to Rama. So during Rama's time, there lived another Rama. Rama 1.0, Rama 2.0. Jamadagni and Renuka Devi had children. The last of them was called Rama. Ramayatiti Ramaha, very handsome. He was a Brahmana. He was supposed to go to department and teach philosophy. That was his duty. Learn Vedas, teach Vedas. But this boy was always having a kshatram, the ability to fight. But he needed an opportunity, right? What was that opportunity? It came in a very sad way. His father was guillotined, beheaded by a king called Kartavirya-Arjuna. He was a king of the Haihaya dynasty. Kartavirya-Arjuna himself is believed to be an Amshavataram of Sudarshana Chakram. Remember that. There is a belief. And in Sringeri, there is an anecdote associated. In the Vidya Shankara Devasthana attached to the Sharadamba Temple, if you do a pradakshina, there is one sculpture on the wall of Kartavirya-Arjuna. And it is a general local belief that if you have lost something, you have to pray to Kartavirya-Arjuna, he will fetch that for you. This is a belief. So this Kartavirya-Arjuna killed Jamadagni. Parashurama, Rama, who was then Rama, got extremely perturbed. He said, how dare that Kshatriya kill you for no reason? Because there was some, he wanted that cow, this person did not give that cow. There was some politics. He killed. That is when he lifted the parashu, the axe. Axe is parashu. And he went on a spree fighting Kartavirya-Arjuna and killing him. He didn't stop there. He said, I will kill other Kshatriyas who are like Kartavirya-Arjuna. So he found a few generations of people and he started killing. Trisappa Kritva Kshiti. Something very, very horrific happened. He collected that blood and created 5 pits, filled them up with blood. What is this? That is how it happens. That is why when Vasishtha named the first son of Dasharatha as Rama, Dasharatha was worried. Why are you giving Rama's name? Because if you give Rama's name now, people will be worried if my son will also be like him. That is when Vishwamitra comes and says, Dasharatha, give me your son. Swaputram Rajashardulam Ramam Satya Parakramam Kakapakshadharam Veeram Jeshtham Me Datum Arhasi. What, you know what Dasharatha says? Unashodasha Varsho Me Ramaha. You are asking for my son to come and fight the Rakshasas, thinking because his name is Rama. Me Ramaha. This is not that Ram. This is my Ram. 6:30 after supper he will sleep. This is what he says. Me Ramaha, my Ram. He is D Ram. वो J Ram hai. Go ask J Ram, not D Ram. D Ram is poor Ram. So people were worried. So this Rama who lifted the parachute from then on was prefixed with the Shabdam parachute. Blade saver. Blade soda bottle kabali. North Madras. So Parashurama, his original name was Rama. Now after killing so many Rajas, he had not performed the Antyeshti for his father because he was on a killing spree. Then something very poetic, I don't know if it really happened, he dug 5 pits. He filled them up with the blood, and with the blood he did samskaram for his father, Pitramera samskaram. That place where 5 pits were dug is called Panchasyamantakam. This place, Panchasyamantakam, after having done the Antyeshti for his father, he realized that he had acquired a lot of wealth, because as he kept killing those kings, or as he kept killing those kings, the property and the land that those kings owned reached Parashurama's hands. Though he didn't want it, he acquired it, but he had no aspiration to own so much of wealth. So he thought, my objective was to punish the wrong Kshatriyas. I have done that. Why do I need this land? I need to donate this land to someone. I don't want this land. Then people will say that I killed so many people for the real estate. So I don't want this real estate, I will give it back. That is when he spotted Kashyapa, Maharishi Kashyapa. Said, Kashyapa, idhar aa jaiye, I will give you this land. Kashyapa was worried because all this real estate is soaked in blood. He will take all the blame. But he was worried that if he rejects Parashurama's proposal, he will become the 22nd Lord. So he said, Parashuram ji, आप एक बार दान देने के पहले स्नान करके आ जाइए. Go take bath. You bathe and come, I will accept it from you. Meanwhile, when Kashyapa was standing there worried what to do, how to reject, he noticed in the land in which they were standing, what was its name? Panchasyamantakam. Where they were standing, he noticed an anthill, termite hill. Ants, termites build their hills for the wise snakes to live. Snakes don't build. Pambu is not civil engineer. It will come and occupy. So there was this is what is there in the Purana. There was a female snake inside the anthill, and it had a dampatyam with another male snake and produced little ones. Another male snake tried to have a forced relationship with this female snake, because in animals we don't have this concept of Shastra. This is why Bali raises this question to Rama. But the female snake rejected. all this animal language, reptile language, Sarzar Slytherin, parcel tongue, parcel mouth, tongue, parcel tongue, he knew. So Kashyapa was noticing this altercation between the female snake and another male snake. But the male snake forced itself into the anthill despite the protests given by the female snake. In a few seconds after it went in, it was thrown out into pieces. It was shredded. Because the Pativratyam of the female snake was so high that it could tear it into pieces. Why? Because that Bhumi had given that Shakti to the snake. Since this Bhumi could give knowledge even to the snake, Kashyapa concluded that even if I take the blood-stained real estate from Parashurama, it will not cause any taint in my Taposhakti because this Kshetram bestows Dharma. So this Panchasyamantaka Kshetram got the name Dharma Kshetram, and that is why this place that bestows Dharma was chosen for the fight between Pandavas and Kauravas so that it will bestow Dharma eventually. That is why, knowing this, Dhritarashtra said, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. It took 2 years for us to learn Gītā with its commentary from an Acharya, because for 2 words, see, generally how will the translation be? Dharma Kshetre, meaning, O Sanjay, in the land called Dharma Kshetra, also called Kurukshetra, what are the sons? This is how it will be. But shouldn't we ask questions coming from the parampara of Nyaya and Mimamsa? Why is it called Dharma Kshetram? Now, I told you one incident about Yatra Krishnascha Krishnascha Satyabhamacha Bhamini. Why did you tell that here? Here is where the commentary begins. The first letter is Evam Nyatvapi. That's the beauty. Despite knowing from Sanjaya earlier in Udyoga Parva that his sons will eventually die, yet being the doting father, Dhritarashtra asked, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. That is the context. Now what does the first verse convey? He intelligently asked. See, he is both an administrator, a Raja, and a father. But in Samanya Dharmam and Visesha Dharmam, when you are father to your child, daughter or son, and you are also an administrator to the entire Praja, where the Praja subjects are also your children, your administrator role should supersede the father's role. That is what was expected. This is what we don't find in politics, right? See, eventually, when you don't see talent in your children to administer, you should give that interest. You should not continue forcing them. After losing so many elections, they will still keep remaining the leader. Then what is the purpose? Then you are not doing the role of a good Kshatriya. So, he was a father and an administrator. If he treated himself as a father, then he should have treated Pandu's sons as his brother's sons. Because he has assumed the role of the father, Pandu's sons should be his brother's sons. If he assumed the role of an administrator, he should have asked, what are Pandu's sons doing and what are Dhritarashtra's sons doing? He should have not asked, what are my sons doing? Sir, he is Dhritarashtra. How will he ask what are Dhritarashtra's sons doing? See, interestingly, in Dakshina Bharatiya Bhasha, there is a beautiful language called Malayalam. In Malayalam, when they make normal conversations, generic conversations will never put them in the Prathama Purusha. They will never say, I am angry. Auntie ku valare kopamana. Aarana auntie? Avadana auntie. She will say, auntie is angry. Who's that auntie? She's that auntie. She will never say, I am angry. She follows Bhagavad Gītā Vakya. So, you are able to understand. Dhritarashtra should have asked, what are Pandu's sons and Dhritarashtra's sons doing? Second option, he should have asked, what are my sons and my brother's sons doing? He combined the both. He said, what are my sons doing and Pandu's sons doing? He didn't say my brother's sons. So look at the combination. Thereby he proves the jealousy and greed in the first shloka. Dharma kshetre, kurukshetre, samaveta, yuyutsavaha, mamakaha. My progeny, my children, and Pandu's children, Pandavas chaiva. He should have said, what are my children and my brother's children doing? He never put that there, Vatsalyam. Kim akurvata Sanjaya, what are they doing? Sanjaya said, see, if Sanjaya felt this is a waste of time with him. He has narrated what all happened, yet he said, that is where Bhagavad Gītā begins. The first chapter, there are 18 chapters. First chapter is full of dukkham. It's Vishada Yogam. Vishada Yogam is Arjuna will keep on telling, I am very sad, my jagara nahi karunga, kyun karna hai? Avargal udambil vodum rattam, yan udambil vodum rattam mondallava. Isn't it the same A positive blood that is running in their body and my body? Krishna said, didn't you know the blood group a week back? Will you realize that on Yuddha Bhumi? Alvar says, Kulashekar Alvar, Vadal Aruthuchudinum Maruttuvan Pal Maladakadal Noyalan Pol Tira Tuyattarinum Vittuvakkottamman. This is Kulashekar Alvar's Pasuram. Imagine there is a surgeon. Is there another word for surgeon here? The surgeon, pardon. So, imagine there is a surgeon. He reads the reports of his patient. He has asked that patient to undergo all the tests available on Bhumi. All the tests they have undergone, the test results come. The doctor will look into the reports and he'll say, fine, everything looks good, just that you need a surgery. Fine. The patient realizes, and so he has got some insurance. Everything is fixed, hospital is ready. So the date for the surgery, the operation is fixed. He goes, all the prerequisites for the surgery is done. The person is put on the table and then he is taken to the operation theatre. Inside comes the doctor, the surgeon. He is with that mask, cap, all the surgical instruments, yantram. Now, this surgeon incidentally has attended a lecture 2 days back on ahimsa, non-violence. Ahimsa, paramo, dharma, you should not hurt another individual, physically, mentally, verbally. Suddenly the teachings, whatever he has acquired, internalized and enjoyed comes into his eyes. He leaves the instruments and he says, sorry dear patient, ahimsa, paramo, dharma. In this process, I may have to physically torture you, hurt you. That my discourse person has said, no, maaf kar dijiye. What will the patient say? He will say, he will fall at the feet of the surgeon and say, I will pay you more. Cut me open. So the only place where you will feel extremely indebted and you will pay somebody to hurt you is to the surgeon. Why? Because you are under the assumption that even if he is going to physically hurt you, it is going to be for your good. Later, incidentally, the surgeon is a good one and the surgery is successful and you have managed to survive, and then you throw a party to your family men that I am still living. They all attend and the doctor is also called. That time you will take pride in introducing that surgeon to your people. He is the one who cut me open. Hello, bolo. Hello, bol. Okay. Sorry, bol. All that bol will come. So Alvar says, Vadal aruthu chudinum. Even with the surgical instruments, if the surgeon cuts you open, Malada kadal noyadan pol. The patient loves that doctor well. You know how beautifully he cut me open. Vadal aruthu chudinum. So Alvar says, similarly, hey Bhagavan, even if you give me many problems in my life, I know it is meant for my good. So I will keep falling in love with you. வாழால் அறுத்துச் சுடினும் மருத்துவன் பால் மாளாத காதல் நோயாளன் போல் தீரா துயத்தரினும் வித்துவக் கோட்டம்மான். So, like the doctor who has realized his lessons on ahimsa on the surgery table, Arjuna comes and says, oh, ahimsa paramo dharmaha, their blood and my blood is the same blood, same blood. Krishna said, what were you doing all these days? That is when Arjuna said, I'm really confused. Take this chariot forward. He says, Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapaya mechyuta yavadeva niriksheham yodhuka manavasthitan. Keep the Senayor ubhayor madhye. There are two large armies on either sides of the Dhartarashtras and the Pandavas. Keep the Ratham in the middle. Krishna listened. Krishna said, Idhar jana hai, beech mein na, he took. That is when, after keeping, who told this? Who told this? Take the chariot. Arjuna. But you know what? Bhagavad Gītā says, Eva Mukto, who said, Hrishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata. He could have simply said, Arjuna told Krishna. He said, Gudakesha told Hrishikesha. Now who are these Keshas? Gudakesha. You remember yesterday at about 7:50 I told you from Adi Parva. Arjuna is called Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep. So Arjuna had won over his sleep. What does winning over one's sleep mean? The one who knows when to sleep. See, it's very tough, right? You have good white rice with about 2 tumblers of sambar, followed by white rice, and rasam, followed by white rice, and curds. By the time you come to your curd rice itself, you will start yawning. So you will sleep. So sleep is something which is exactly not under our control. But a valorous person should know when to sleep. Sleep should be under his control, it seems. That is Arjuna, Gudakesha. That is why Krishna chose him for Bhagavad Gītā. You know how many more shlokas Krishna? Baki kal bol do na, bahut zyada ho gaya, aaj ka kota zyada ho gaya hai. Arjuna listened. Gudakesha. Who told this? Hrishikesha, the one who has won over his senses. Eva mukto Hrishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata. Now both these names are replaceable as well. See, Krishna too had won over sleep. How do we know that? Alvar says, when you look at the reclining posture of Bhagavan, we often assume, he'll be sleeping on Adisesha. No. Uranguvadu pol yoga seyyum perumal, says the Alvar. It seems as if he is sleeping, but he is doing yoga. It seems to us, Jagadrakshana Chinta. With that smile on his face, he is thinking, oh, how will the world be? I protect the world with my smile. Jagadrakshana Chinta Yoga. So to us it appears as if he is sleeping, but he is actually doing yoga. We may be doing yoga. Right? Slowly the person, the yoga teacher will say, slowly open your eyes. So Krishna, like how Arjuna had mastered the art of winning the sleep, Krishna too had done. Like how Krishna had won over his senses, Arjuna had also done. Kya bol rahe ho sir? Arjun kidhar win kiya? You remember 7:20 I told you, when the Raja said, marry my daughter, he said, no, there is a Dharma, she is my student. If it was not his student, he would have married. That's a different thing. But in that he followed Dharma. There is another place in the Mahabharata which Vedanta Deshika quotes in a later chapter, When Arjuna was asked by Krishna to go fetch the Divyastram in Amaravati from Indra, that time Indra, after having blessed Arjuna with the Divyastram, said, learn dance from Urvashi. Urvashi was a dance teacher. Arjuna felt that very odd because he has got biceps, thin waist, all biceps, six packs, with that takadimi, takajano. It was very difficult. So he said, why should I learn? Indra said, learn. So he learned dance from Urvashi, Natya Shastram from Urvashi. Then Chitraratha taught him as well. He learned all musical instruments, dance. After having done this, one fine day, Urvashi, she said, I need to meet Arjuna. So she dressed herself up, the foundation, eyeshadow, all that she put. Very well decked terracotta jewelry. All that she put. I don't know whether you get it here. So she dressed herself up. Then she presented herself to Arjuna. She thought Arjuna will give, what a piece of beauty. Extremely pretty. She thought she will get such testimonials. What did he do? Party. He said, party. How will Urvashi feel? She has spent 3 hours in this makeup. So she said, yeah. What is this party? Ajji. Telugulo em cheptarandi? Ammamma, Ajji, party. Endana Malayalathil? Party ennu solluven. Ammumma. Muttachi. So in Hindi we have two, Dadi and Nani. I don't know. He said, she felt very bad. Arjun, this is really humiliating. How did you ever say that? I thought of proposing to you. Urvashi. She wanted to become Mrs. Urvashi Arjun. How dare you call me potty? Wait. That is when Arjuna said, this comes at, see, I am trying to make it relatable, but the incident is there. You know, my initial days of lecture, some people get offended. Why are you trying to make it very jovial? Tell it in a serious fashion. See, each one has their own style. My opinion was, as such, people have a lot of problems in their professional front, personal front. When they come for the lecture, our Sanatana Dharma is a very cool civilization. It is not a tough one where Bhagavad will come and prick your eyes, he will take your head, he will not. We are a very friendly civilization. We should be very cool. We should enjoy our civilization. We should not always live in that fear. Swami kanna kuttum vettu, what is it? Is this our civilization? We are full of love. So this is our civilization. So my opinion was we should have a very friendly conversation. Serious lecture. Nobody laughs. Person won't laugh, others won't laugh. Very sorry about the death in the family. I can feel it. So, here, Urvashi asked Arjuna, why did you say that? He said, I can't marry you because you are one of my ancestors' wife. Pururava's Patni was Urvashi who gave rise to Ayu. So, you are that old. So, I cannot marry. So, he had won over his senses in this instance as well. Eva mukto hrishi kesho gudakeshena bharata senayor ubhayor madhye sthapayitva rathottamam. Go keep this chariot in the middle. Generally, judge means they have to sit on either sides. Either side they'll be flanked by parties, pro and con, to and against, for and against. So he'll be seated in the middle. Solomon Papaya does that. So that is when Krishna asked, Arjuna, what is happening to you? You're sweating. Where is the sorbitrate? He said, Gandivam samsrate hastat pakchaiva paridahyati. Krishna, Gandivam, that bow that I hold in great delight, that is coming out of my hands. Gandivam samsrate Hastat tvachaiva paridahyati. My skin is burning. Deklo at what temperature? Nacha shakro myavasthatum bhramati vacha me manaha. I cannot fight anymore. I don't think I can fight. He kept his bow, arrow, and he said, my ghar jata hua. Krishna said, see, I can't fight. You have gone. What will I do here with this ratham? Then somebody has to come and tow this chariot. Who will fight? That is when Arjuna said, see, I can't understand Krishna. People have already blown their conch. Krishna said, you have also blown. Devadattau Dhananjayo Panchajanyo Hrishikeshaha. Krishna blew the conch. So, the start of a yuddham was indicated with the blowing of the conch. Everybody had to blow. So, there are about 6 to 10 shlokas in the first adhyaya. Who blew which conch? Its greatness spread across the streets of Chennai. That is why they keep telling Sambudi. They are all Bhagavad Gītā followers. They are so much attached to Krishna that even the locality will be chosen related to Krishna. Gopalapuram. Gandhivam samsrate hasta tvachaiva paridahyate nacha shakrom yavasthatum bhramati vacha me manaha. Krishna said, what do you want, Arjuna? Arjuna said, see, at the end of the day, Krishna. See, you should understand Arjuna's dilemma as well. He has played on the lap of Bhishma. He was the most favorite student of Drona. He had great respect for Kripa. So that has been his association. And in that he has to fight them. It's a very tricky scenario. We should side with Arjuna. We should not keep on blaming. It was a very tough scenario. That is when he asked Krishna, what should I do? Krishna could have simply looked at Arjuna and said, I am asking you to fight. Fight. He should have taken those eyes of Nrisimha Avataram and shown him his place. Krishna didn't do that. He chose to narrate the essence of the entire Upanishads. Question was whether I should fight. The answer is only one, either yes or no. That's all. Bas ho gaya. Fight karo. Fight. He should have said. What did he do? Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. Arjuna forgot what he asked. See, in history exams in school, in Bharatadesham, you might have learnt some answer. When you go there, there will be a different question. But you know for sure that history teachers will never check the answers. So the first line and the last line will be related to the question. So did Krishna end up filling the answer sheet? Because the question was, why should he explain karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga? Arjuna felt very bad. He said, I should not have asked this question. This man is not leaving that mic. 700 shlokas. Why did Krishna do? This is where the commentator to Thiruvaimuri says, whatever Krishna has explained is Gūdārtham. It's Rahasyam. He should have not said Upanishad Saram. But why did he do that? Because in front of Krishna's eyes was Draupadi's tears. He was so moved by Draupadi's pitiable state that every time she used to think and cry about that incident where she was humiliated. That scene flashed in front of his eyes, and even without his knowledge, inadvertently, Krishna revealed the Upanishad Saram. It was unrelated, but he revealed. So he revealed. Now, the question is, Arjuna says, Karpanya dosho apahata svabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha Yachreyahasthan nishchitam bruhitam me sishyastheham shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, Krishna, take me as your student. Why did Krishna do the explanation only to Arjuna? He could have done it to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is also first rank student. He could have done it to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira, idhar aao. I'll tell Bhagavad Gītā, Arjun, thoda jagah do. You adjust and sit. He could have done that, right? Why did he do it to Arjuna? Because Arjuna had the humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. That knowledge is the true knowledge which makes the learner humble. The more you learn, the more humble you become. Vidya dadati vinayam. Arjuna had accomplished a lot. He had received all awards. But here he says, Sishyastheham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Treat me as your student. So the first step, what is the moral that we learn? First step to learning in our life is humility. The moment we say, I do not know, we will start knowing. That is why Upanishad says, Vijñāto avijānatam, Vijñāto avijānatam. The one who says, I know everything, Upanishad says, he doesn't know anything. The one who says, I don't know, knows everything, it seems. Right? So, Arjuna had that greatness in him. He says, Sishyastheham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Next, Krishna explains, Hey Arjuna, you are assuming that you are going to kill the opposite person. The second adhyaya comes. It's called Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyo Dhyayaha. Jnanam comes. So how do we distribute Bhagavad Gītā? Remember this formula. There are 18 chapters. Chapter 1 to chapter 6 is called Prathama Shatkam. First bunch of 6 chapters. Prathama Shatkam. It comprises of 6 chapters that talks about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Both the yogas are explained in chapter 1 to 6. Chapter 7, when Krishna says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam proktam sutre maniganaiva, to chapter 12. The next set of 6 chapters, Madhyama Shatkam, set of 6 chapters, is what? That deals with Bhakti Yoga. So chapter 1 to 6 is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Chapter 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga. He should have stopped there. Chapter 12, TK Arjun fight karo. But Arjuna had a volley of questions from chapter 1 to 12. So Krishna kept question answer round. He said questions, ask your questions. So those questions from chapter 1 to 12, whatever Arjuna had, were raised between chapter 13 and 18. So 13 to 18, the Tritiya Shatkam or Charama Shatkam is question answer session. As such, there were questions and answers, but this is exclusively for questions and answers. So this is how Gita is distributed. So in chapter 1 to 6, chapter 1 is Vishada, Arjuna's Dukkham. Chapter 2 is Sankhya. Now, in that chapter 2, he explains about the difference between the body and the Atma. This is the fundamental concept of Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. Shariram is anityam, Atma is nityam. This is with this belief only you can develop your knowledge in Dharma. So Shariram alindidum, this body will always perish. That is why technically great acharyas would never concentrate on their body. They will eat, that's all. They wouldn't want to, this has become a big problem these days. So in my early days of Upanyasams, whenever I used to meet people, if they were older to me, I would say, Mami, Namaskara Mami. Many of them used to say, don't call me Mami. Do I look like Mami? There is no specific formula to look like Mami. Right? But they used to get offended. So my initial years, I had to, fight this. Then they said, just call me by the name. Then I started calling by that. Is not our paddhati. Even if they are older to you, you address them with a certain surname or you respect them. But they said, no, why does it have to be that if you just call me by name, there is no respect? Okay, I will call you by name. So why did that concept come? Because people never, there's a concept, right? Never ask the woman her age and the man his salary. What is all this? Why shouldn't we ask that age? Because the concept is, I wish to be eternal. I don't want to tell my age. Why should you know when I was born and when I will die? So they don't want to reveal. This is not the Sanatana Dharma view of life. This Shariram will die one day. Right? Whatever body we have preserved with the anti-wrinkle treatment, anti-aging treatment, everything will go into the crematorium one day and it will come in that Horlicks Ovaltine bottle. See, whatever body we have, you will be surprised. It will come in one bottle. Our family members will come, Peripa bottle. Peripa bottle. This is how we will all be. One day, sure thing, we will all die. They will all give that ashes in one bottle and say no. Then they will take to Mississippi, Colorado, Kaveri. They will pour that. That's all we will get inside that body which we have preserved so well. Imagine that will come in a bottle. So we have, our acharyas have never given importance to this body. But our concentration is full on this body. That is where Krishna says, know this Arjuna, the body is impermanent. Atma is eternal. Arjuna had this doubt. So if I kill them, then Krishna said, what you are killing is not their Atma, their body. But imagine this 15 seconds of my lecture, excerpt goes to a person who makes bombs. He will say, see these bombs when I throw, only the Shariram is going to get destroyed. Atma is anyway, Dushyant ji ne hi bol diya, Atma nahi jane wala hai. Hum Atma ko nahi maar rahe, isliye they can use it, right? But before that you have to be a devotee of Krishna. See, that is the prerequisite. That is why when they make viral reels also, they should make the first 1 hour reel. Because the prerequisite to understand, you cannot choose one particular portion and do it. So Krishna explains that. Then after explaining, to some extent he talks about karma. Here is where in the 3rd adhyaya, see I told you Bhagavad Gītā is too vast, I'm just taking some important shlokas. Krishna explains karma yoga. Karma. I think this word has become very popular now. That's your karma. But the karma has various meanings here. The karma is varnashrama dharma vihita karma. That's what Krishna is talking here. But we cannot exactly fit ourselves that way in the current world of 2025. But he talks about karma. For that Krishna explains. Karman yeva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadayaha loka sangraha mevapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. While describing and detailing karma yoga in the 3rd adhyaya, it is called karma yogo nama tritiyodhyayaha. That time he says, Arjuna, karmanyaiva hi samsiddhim. People who have done karma yoga. Arjuna asks, are there people who did that religiously? Asthita janakadayaha. Janaka did that. Who is Janak? Krishna is very careful. He remembers his Purva Avatara's father-in-law. Right? He remembers his father-in-law. Why? In Ramayanam, there is an anecdote which is mentioned. Generally, the kings who belonged to Videha Rajyam with its Rajadhani called Mithila were given the surname Janaka. This Sita's father was called by the name Siradhvaja. But the surname was Janaka, Siradhvaja Janaka. So this Janaka Maharaja was very, very selfless. He was a king. He had all the riches, but he was not attached to them. There was a very detached attachment to that which was only required. That was Janaka. That kingdom, Rajyam, had a guru called Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya used to give lessons on the Vedanta to Janaka Maharaja and his cabinet ministers. So Janaka said all ministers have to attend. In most of the corporate firms, there will be some compulsory training programs. But nobody may want to read the material. So you have to sit in front of that laptop. You have to keep on pressing the next arrow. Because towards the end you have to get those brownie points, then you will get this. Janaka called the ministers, they were all just waiting, okay sir, we have to sit, right, we'll sit. In those Vedanta classes, Yajnavalkya, the teacher, used to look only at Janaka and deliver the classes. The other ministers were not interested, but they had an intriguing question. Why is he looking only at Janaka? See, in public speaking also, that is a bad habit. See, there are so many people, I should generally give a look. So, you should have a general look at everyone. Why did the teacher look only at Janaka? Because he knew he was the only one who was listening. The other ministers were not. But the other ministers, they knew they were not listening, but they had this audacity to think, how dare he looks only at Janaka? So Yajnavalkya knew this. What did he do? He created a Mayagni, an illusionary fire in Lanka, in Mithila. Things were burning. Palace was burning, the houses were burning, the possessions in the houses were burning. It was all in blazing fire. So the moment everything caught fire, the ministers started running because outside was Porsche. There was BMW. They have to be Detroit, so I have to say Ford, GMC, pickup truck, everything was burning. Janaka did not move an inch. He kept on listening. It was Agni everywhere. He kept on taking notes and he was listening. Yajnavalkya asked, your ministers are running to protect their possessions. They are protecting their possessions. Why don't you go? That is when Janaka said, Pradiptayam Mithilayam Name Kinchit Pradahyate. Burning is Mithila. Burning are her possessions. Those which are burning, none of it is mine. Pradiptayam Mithilayam. He never had an attachment towards anything. He was that great a karma yogi, remembering Janaka's greatness in Dwapara Yugam, in Kurukshetra. When Arjuna asks for an apt example of a karma yoga follower, Krishna says, Karmanyaiva hi samsiddhim asthita Janakadayaha. Now comes another question. Sir, should we stop karma yoga after we reach a certain level of maturity? That is when Krishna says, Loka sangraha mevapi. Even if you have attained a certain level of perfection, till your death, karma yoga has to be performed. That is where he says. Now, Arjuna asks, what is the importance of a person performing karma yoga? That is where Krishna says, Yadyadacharati sreshthas tattadeva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. When great people adhere to Dharma, Karma Yoga and follow, they become inspiration for the followers. Yatha Raja, Tatha Praja. If you believe there are followers to you, you should set a very good example. You have an additional responsibility. Then you have to follow. When you take pride in saying there are followers, then you should be worried, if I do a wrong act, they will hate me. If you say nobody follows me, that is a different issue. But here you say I have loads of followers, then do it. Because whatever the hero does, see, I am talking from an Indian perspective, in the last 70 years, I don't know, especially from the southern states, I have to be very specific, we have all become cinema fans. Our heroes are these people. Look at from the days of Adi Shankara and Ramanuja. You ask who is your hero? These heroes. See, I have nothing. I have directed movies. I have directed a movie. I have acted in a movie. But I feel that is also another art. That's all. It should start and stop there. You appreciate a movie. Oh, this is a beautiful trilogy. Oh, here they show the cinematography is good. Oh, adolescents, 4 seasons. They have shot in one shot. Cinematography is good. This is the issue. That's all. Then we start becoming followers for that hero. That hero's true life, real life and real life are nowhere close. You must see so many downtrodden families getting ruined because of this. When they don't have necessary funds to run their family, they will grab money from their parents to watch the first show at 4 a.m. If Modi ji asks us to stand outside 8 a.m., they will crib. But they are ready to go at 4 a.m. and watch a movie. Again, I'm telling you, I'm never against cinema. That is also a useful method for entertainment. But it should start and stop there. So the point is, if you believe you are the leader and inspiration for many, your vyavaharam should be blemishless. Krishna says, Yadyadacharati sreshtaha. A person who calls himself an acharya, a leader, should walk the path of good conduct. Tattadeva itaro janaha. Then only you will create a good bunch of followers. If the leader himself is characterless, if the leader himself doesn't speak well, then what about the followers? So, sat yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Now, after listening to all this in chapter 1, 2, 3, Vishada Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, 4th chapter comes. In that, Arjuna asks, Krishna, I have now come to understand that you are very special after so many years. You are very different, Krishna. I want to know, who are you? Now Krishna says, we have a lot of similarities, Arjuna. You too have many births and I too have many births. Wo mujhe pata hai. You will have many janmas and I too have many janmas. But Krishna says, hold on, there is a difference. All my janmas are called avataras. Your janma is called janma. Why, Krishna? Because I remember all of them. Can you remember? Do we remember? What did we eat yesterday? See, if it's the same dish throughout, then you will remember. You won't know what you have had yesterday, but how will you remember the previous janma? Not possible. But Krishna says, I remember previous janmas because I am Paramatma, you are the Jivatma. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Then Arjuna asks this question. Krishna, I have a pertinent question. What is that question, Arjuna? I will tell whether it is pertinent or not. Bolo, pucho. When you have had a previous janma and I have had a previous janma, when you have had many previous janmas, I have had many previous janmas, when your previous janmas are called avataras and my previous janmas are not called avataras, what is that one criteria that decides our birth? That is when he says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Krishna says, it is my ichcha that decides my avataram. It is your karma that decides your birth. See, for us, karma decides our birth. How do we know that? Whether we like her or not, she is the mother. Whether I like him or not, he is the father. Whether they like me or not, I am their son. We have to live with it. We don't have a karma. Suppose Bhagavan gives me a choice. Then I will say, Mukesh and Nita, they wore such beautiful things for the Met Gala. Right? I would be Anand's next brother. That could have been my choice. But Bhagavan did not give that choice. Then what decided my birth? Karma. My Purva Janma Sanchita Karma, the accrued karma of all my previous Janmas, has decided in which shariram, in whose parents, in which household I should be born. Unlike that is Krishna. Pitaram rochayamasa tatha dasharatham dripam, says Ramayana. Bhagavan chose. Lakshmi, Dasharatha will be my father. Are you okay with him as your father? ठीक है? Choose करो ना. Inky Pinky Ponky डालो. तुम्हें कौन चाहिए? कौशल्या, कैकेयी और सुमित्रा. बोल दो. They chose. I didn't have that choice because it is my karma that decides my birth. They have their choice because it is their ichcha. Ichchadina birth, ichchadina janma is avataram. Karmadina janma is janma. So Krishna clearly shows the distinction to Arjuna. Then Arjuna asks, fine, you are Paramatma. Tell me why you are born. You should have a purpose. When are you born? He asks 6 questions, for which 2 consecutive shlokas come. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. This is 1. Followed by that is an avatara rahasya shloka, 3-fold. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. 2 shlokas from the 4th adhyaya. It is called avatara rahasya. First Krishna says, when am I born? Glanihi, when there is a threat to the very dharma in this world, I am born. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi. Who is Bharata? Yeah, Bharat is Bharat Bhumi se. Kaun hai Bharat? Very good. Arjuna is called Bharata. He comes in Bharata Vamsha, right? So he says, Bharata, hey Arjuna, yada yada hi dharmasya. See, in Sanskritam, one of the first rules we learn is Vigraha Vakya. How to split. And then Anvaya. You have to split the words and create a sentence. See, this is poetry. Now you have to make it prose. That is the first step we have to do in Sanskritam. Bharata, yada yada hi dharmasya. Krishna says, okay, there is a problem for dharma, you come. Now you tell me what is the purpose you achieve. This is where Krishna says 3 things. Paritranaya sadhunam. I protect the sadhus. Who are the sadhus? We come in the second category. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Thereby establishing dharma. But there is a problem here. See, most of us who narrate Amar Chitra Kathas to our children, ask them to read or show them, expose them to serials or movies. Some children may end up asking, some of them may have this question, why are our stories always concentrating on somebody's death? Ravana should die, Kamsa should die, Duryodhana should die. Bhagavan, you know how Amar Chitra Katha will begin? There was a king called Kans in Mathura. They met a devout couple called Devaki and Vasudev. As they were thrown into the prison and they were languishing in the prison, the 8th fetus was Bhagwan, Vasudev, and he was born. That tone has to come. In my tone, nobody will listen. It has to come with a style. So we listen. So Kans, there was a person called Kans. It is Kamsat. Sanskritam, it is Kam, because you have to add that in there. That is different. Now we can't. So Amitabh Bachchan says you have to say Kans. So he is Pani, he is Guru. So we will follow only what Bachchan says, even if Jaya doesn't listen. No. For Kamsa's death. Now first understand, is Sanatana Dharma so violent? Bhagavan is thinking in Vaikuntha. Kams ko marna hai, Duryodhan ko marna hai. What is this? This is where I will read Bhagavad Ramanuja's Sanskrita commentary and explain. If you pay attention, you will realize how beautiful it is. Paritranaya sadhunam iti. Sadhava uktalakshana dharmashila vaishnava gresaram matsamashrayane pravrittam man namakarma swarupanam avangmanasa gocharataya maddarshanat rite Swatvadharana poshanadi sukham alabhamana anumatra kalam api kalpasahasram manvana prashithila sarvagatra bhaveyuhu iti matswarupa cheshtitavaloka nala padidanena tesham paritranaya tad viparitanam vinashaya. This is his commentary. Sir, what did you read now? What Ramanuja says is, Bhagavan's objective is not to kill his children, because in Sanatana Dharma, Duryodhana is also the son of Paramatma. I may not like Duryodhana, but at the end of the day, that Jivatma within Duryodhana also belongs to Paramatma. So there is no essential true question of hatred in Dharma. If that is the case, then why is Bhagavan bent in killing? He is never bent in killing. His main purpose, Ramanuja says, is paritranaya sadhuna. Why? See, in Sanatana Dharma, our mode of understanding Srishti, creation, is very different. Bhagavan doesn't physically create. Okay, just give me Lakshmi, can you just help me with that plate full of stones? Get that? Yeah, now they become the Rocky Mountains. Acha hai na? Now just get me those few plants. He doesn't do that physical work. When there is nothing, all the achetana padartham gets to a sukshma dasha. It is called subtle state. That time, Bhagavan says, Vedam says, Bahusyam prajayeti. He thinks that I should become many. The moment he thinks, Srishti happens. Physically, he doesn't have to do it. His thought is the action. He thinks that will act. How do we know that? Sankalpam, we say. It's a very subtle thing you have to understand in Bhagavad Srishti. Imagine I have a house in the second floor in Ashok Nagar. You know Ashok Nagar? In Chennai? You have to travel to Chennai now to see Ashok Nagar. Second floor is my house. There is no elevator in the building. And I am living in the 1970s. Frequent power cuts. I have had a great friend in Bhagavan. Krishna Vasudeva is my great friend. Both of us used to play cricket together near Lakeview Road. Bhagavan and I used to play in 1970 power cut. One day I say, Krishna, just come home. Just come. I go. It is a day of Amavasya. Ama means darkness. Amavasya Ratri. No power. Second floor house. No elevator. 4 things you have to remember. I climbed the 2 floors to reach my house. Since I am used to climbing, I know there are 10 steps that lead me to the house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I open the door. It is dark, but I am used to climbing. Now I have asked Krishna Vasudeva to come. Krishna comes. He doesn't have a phone for the torch. There is no power. It is Amavasya Ratri. He walks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Imagine instead of Krishna, I am going. Or my friend is coming. He wouldn't know there are 10 steps. After the 10th step, when he raises his foot and keeps it, assuming there is 11th step, he will hit on the ground. That is when you will realize that there are no more steps. Have you realized that? Yes. Now imagine Bhagavan walks. He is walking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He thinks like my friend that there is 11th. When he thinks there is 11th, the 11th step will come. That is called Sankalpa Shakti. If he thinks, it has to come. We don't go. Imagine there will be parents here. You may want your sons or daughters to get married. They will take their time. They have their own valid reasons. Parents have their own valid reasons. Now the parent thinks, my daughter is married. Will that happen? No, because we don't have that Sankalpa Shakti. Whereas Bhagavan has that Sankalpa Shakti. That Sankalpa Shakti, Sahasranamam states, makes the astronomical entities stand where they are. The question is, how does the sun stay there? How do the stars stay there? The answer is, Dhyausa Chandrarka Nakshatra Kambisho Gurmaho Dadihi. With Vasudevasya Viryena, with the Sankalpa Shakti of Vasudeva, it stays there. Vidhrutani Mahatmanaha. So Krishna says, with my Sankalpa Shakti from Vaikuntham, he could have said, Kamsa. That's all. Kamsa would have got a heart attack and he would have died. Krishna didn't have to come as the 8th child. First 6 children were killed. 7th is a miscarriage. 8th one was carried, shifted from Mathura to Gokulam. Then he crawled, killed Putana. Then at the age of 10, called by Akrura to Mathura. Then he is in that arena. Then he fights Kamsa and kills. He didn't have to do all of it. Bhagavad Sankalpa, if we believe that Bhagavan is Sarvavyapi and Sarvashakta, from Vaikuntha he should have done. Then why did he do this? Because the purpose purpose of Krishna Avataram was not to kill Kamsa, was not to kill Duryodhana, was not to kill Putana, Shakata, Pralamba, Keshi, Dhenuka, Agha, none of them. Krishna's purpose was to come and embrace the Gopika Stris, to embrace Vidura. Only if he comes down, he will be able to move with his devotees. To annihilate the demoniac force, he could do it from Vaikuntham with Sankalpa Shakti. But to dance with the Gopika Stris and dance with the cows and the calves and enjoy the hospitality of Vidura and to be friends with Draupadi, he has to be physically present. So the only purpose of Krishna Avataram or any Avataram is Paritranaya Sadhunam, to be with his devotees. Then Vinashaya cha Dushkrita, byproduct. See, in Dakshina Bharatam, there is a delicacy. It is the simplest of all, or called Upma. You heard of Upma? In Kannada it is called Uppittu. In Telugu, Uppinduva. Upma. Kerala, Upma. Hindi, Kichdi, Rava Kichdi. So technically, how do you make it? See, the main purpose is Upma. Remember this, sole objective is Upma. You take a vessel and you add that little oil and then add that water. Then first you will have to dry roast the rava and then you will have to add water. It has to boil then. It has to get sticky. Now what is the main product? Objective Upma. You take that Upma out. There is a caramelized portion attached to that making vessel. People will wait for that. I don't know, now you will have to scrape that. That's a caramelized portion of that Upma. Upma is the main product. What is the byproduct? That caramelized portion. So more than the main product, our interest is on the byproduct. So more than Paritranaya Sadhuna, at times our concentration is fixed on Vinashaya cha Dushkritam, the caramelized portion. Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. I will keep being one. 4th chapter. Then Krishna explains the 5th. 6th, he is done with Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Then Arjuna asks, for moksham, what should I do, Krishna? You have to travel in a vehicle. What vehicle? It is called Bhakti Yoga. Comes the 7th, 8th, 9th. 9th is called Rajavidya, Rajagruhyam. Then he goes on till 12th. So next 6 chapters, the vehicle is Bhakti Yoga. The Atma from point A has to reach point B. From this state, we have to attain moksham, which is point B. This Atma has to travel in a vehicle. That vehicle is called Bhakti Yoga. But the vehicle needs wheels. So wheel 1 is called Karma Yoga, wheel 2 is called Jnana Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga vehicle, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga as wheels, Jivatma reaches point B from point A. Then Arjuna says, I'm tired, Krishna. I never want to be born again. Then Krishna says, I will explain the guna. He starts explaining Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. That is why, how do these gunas come? It could either be our body, nature. It could be our surroundings, our environment, family environment may incite certain gunas. 3rd is food. What you consume is what you are. So, Ahara Shuddhau, Sattva Shuddhihi, Sattva Shuddhau, Dhruva Smritihi. All this is explained. Now, Arjuna asks, with these gunas, what will happen? Krishna says, if there is an increase in Sattva and reduction in Tamo Rajo, you become a Deva. If it is topsy-turvy the other way, you become an Asura. Arjuna had a doubt. Who am I? Am I a Deva or an Asura? It is called Deva-Asura Vibhaga Yogam. This is one chapter. Krishna has to tell who is Deva, who is Arjuna. Arjuna had a doubt. Make on who? Naan yaar kadavul paadi murugam paadi kalavai seyda kalavai naan ulle murugam veliye kadavul. So who am I? Am I Dev or Asur? That is when Krishna says, you are a Deva. Arjuna, thank you so much. But how did you know I am a Deva? See, I have been speaking till now 450 verses. Had it been an Asura, he would have killed me by now. Bye. You have been patiently listening to me, Arjuna, so you are a Deva. So Arjuna said, "Theek." Then Krishna continued. Then slowly in the 16th chapter he comes, 17th, 18th. Now 18th chapter, because now Yuddham has to begin. Remember, people are waiting to fight. 1, 2, 3, everybody is ready to shoot. This person is patiently explaining Bhagavad Gītā there. On the other hand, see, many of them, they can understand Gītā, but they have a pertinent question. How did the audience there react? See, Duryodhana should have said, like, fight karo, ye kya kar raha hai? Ye kaun hai? Arjun, baad mein questions puchna. Question answer later. Abhi start karo fight, he should have said, right? There are 2-3 ways that I have heard of interpretation here. Some people say, it seems Krishna intermittently stopped that time cycle. 10:45, Bhagavad Gītā began. It ended at about 12:45 afternoon. Krishna stopped those 2 hours, and when they returned after Bhagavad Gītā, it again became 10:45. This is improbable because even Bhagavan will not go against Srishti rules. He will not stop that time. Remember, all this is good to look at in theory. He will not stop. Abhi stop karo, then clocks, watches will stop working. All this is very good in VFX. But in reality, it didn't happen. What is the other way? There is another interesting interpretation. See, first of all, we need to understand, to explain Bhagavad Gītā and take all the other complications. When I say complications, there are a lot of doubts that will come in Bhagavad Gītā. To explain one verse, it takes hours together. Arjuna was so intelligent, he could understand Krishna's rendition at the same pace in which he spoke. That is why he was chosen. Nammude uttunda irunganda modalla vaangale. Modal shlogan sonnele adile enakku oru doubt. Yeah, we would have not crossed 10 verses. 2 hours we would have spent in the 10 verses itself. We would have got confused. That is why Krishna didn't choose us. We would have confused him. Krishna is confused. Yeah, we will confuse Krishna. Krishna will Nanya, Chandramukhi. We would have done that. But Arjuna was very smart. He understood at the same pace. See, if you go to a Shastriya Sangeeta Kacheri, a concert in Carnatic music, you should understand one art. When the Kalpana Swaram comes, the violinist has to understand at the same pace in which the singer is singing. He cannot say, no, re what is wrong. You have to understand at the same pace. See, Arjuna understood. He was very intelligent, very smart. He understood at the same pace in which Krishna spoke. So the hours that Krishna took to speak could have just been like 1 hour. But even then, how did they wait? 1 hour is too much on the battlefield. Yeah? How did they wait? So the third interpretation is even more interesting. Arjuna asked a question to Krishna. Should I fight them? He left his Gandiva. Krishna in return had to explain Sharira, Atma Jnana and all of that. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. The entire download of this would have happened in a second to Arjuna. See, the point is, okay, I'll give you 2-3 examples. First, let us go through a very simple example. How do we interpret body language and generic language? I'm sure many of you will have pets at home. Dogs, cats. So, they will be pet. So if you go to certain houses, they will look at the dog. They will look at the dog. Did the dog say, Bhairava, did it open its mouth and say, I am hungry? No. Based on the body language, you are able to decipher. So body language itself is a means of communication. Communication need not have to be oral. That is one level of interpretation. Second, earlier, now times are different, we have a lot of advancements. I'm talking 5-10 years or 15 years back. we used to buy CDs, music CDs, and we used to copy that to our desktop or laptop. There will be one folder. Then you'll have to shift that to a pen drive. So when you shift that, it will show 3 minutes pending. But remember, in that 3 minutes file, there is Pancharatnam, 5 Ratnas. Jagadananda Karaka Dudukugala Nane Dora Poduku Brochura Chiruta Praya Mulanade Bhajana Mrutara Savihina Kutakudaina Duduku Sadhinchane O Manasasa Adhinchane Kana Kana Ruchira Kana Kavasana Nuno Yendero Mahanubhavulu. Each of these Ghanapanchakaragam, each of these has about 13 to 14 charanams each. So with the swaram, you do the sahityam. Swara, sahitya, swara, sahitya. Easily, if you sing these pancharatnas, it will take 1 hour. 5 music MP3 files. But it is taking only 3 minutes for transfer. Can you see? So even if the content is 1 hour, the time taken to shift is only 3 minutes. Even if Bhagavad Gītā recitation takes 2 hours, for Krishna to transfer the knowledge to Arjuna would have taken only a minute. Now, how did we know the Bhagavad Gītā? Because that 1 minute, Vyasa has expanded and presented to us. So this is the third interpretation. Now, 18th chapter has come. Now they have to fight finally. That is when Arjuna asks, Krishna, you have explained Bhakti Yoga to me. I have told you, right, chapter 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is also called by other names like Sadhana or Upasana. So he said, you have explained this Bhakti Yoga to me. But Krishna, you have also given some conditions. See, if you are a Bhakti Yoga practitioner, please remember, Bhakti and Bhakti Yoga are slightly different. For us, Bhakti means, Naam japan karta hu, Bhagwan ke liye main pushp samarpit karta hu, main chandan deta hu Bhagwan. All that Bhagwan is fine. But Bhakti Yoga is not that Bhakti. Don't confuse Bhakti and Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is Ashtanga. Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana Samadhi Ashtanga Yoga. That Ashtanga Yoga has to be practiced. First you do Karma Yoga, then you do this Ashtanga Yoga, then you acquire Jnana. Then with that Jnana, it has to ripen, it has to mature to Bhakti. See, for example, let's take it this way. A child starts brushing. You start teaching the child how to brush. 3rd standard, 4th standard, keep on brushing. Then you say brush, brush. Then the child will say he would have brushed. Then you say no, you didn't brush properly, brush. So the child feels such a burden doing this karma. Then when the child goes to the school days, the child will realize from the teacher that this was actually a cleansing process to clean my teeth. So there is a karma first of cleaning. Then comes the jnana of why that cleaning happens. But this has not matured to love. Correct? Oh, okay, I brushed for cleansing. Now the child becomes a dentist later. Then the child will start loving that. Oh, it's a beautiful way. I brush. Hopefully dentists do that. So that love comes. That karma which becomes jnana then turns into mature jnana is called bhakti. See, initial days, I'm sure the elderly people here will be able to relate to. At the age of 4, the parents will say, comes a child, the Vasudeva, no, say, Mama has come, say that. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Madhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Mande Jagadguru. No child is a Prahlada, right? Vasudeva Sutam Deva. They see Paramatma, they just recite. So that is karma. Eventually that child may be put to some classes in Samskrita, then the child realizes, oh, Vasudeva Sutam, son of Vasudeva. Kamsa Chanura Mardanam. He brought peace by annihilating Kamsa and Chanura. Oh, he brought happiness to Devaki. Devaki Paramanandam. He is no normal person. He is the preceptor to the world. Krishnam Mande Jagadguru. Meaning is acquired at the age of 16. Then maybe at the age of 45, when the person goes to Mathura, he will fall in love with that Krishna. That second, you won't feel like leaving. In Malayalam, there's a song. Torudu madangum volini enno varumennor ashariri kelkunnadayum thonnum unni kaattiruppan ennadayum thonnum anneram albudham kalabhattin parimala. When you go to Guruvayur, the person says, it seems when you look at Krishna for that second, more than you asking when I will see him again, you will hear an ethereal voice of Krishna who says, when will you come again? Iniyenno varumenno ashariri kelkunnadayum thonnum. Ashariri is an ethereal voice. So that jnana matures to bhakti, where you start seeing Krishna in everything. That is bhakti. Karma, jnana, bhakti. But there is a problem here. Bhakti yoga has 3 levels. Parabhakti, Parajnana, Paramabhakti. Which is where you feel attached to Krishna, where you realize his qualities and his nature, and at the highest level where you feel that you cannot exist without him. See, in mundane love also, avar illai endral, naan illai, attan. You have heard of these dialogues? If attan is not there, Savitri cries. That attan is a waste. But still she cries. For Bhagavan that should come. This Manadane Mangai Ivara Vechin enna mandrathu. So that aspiration when you get for Bhagavan, when you start feeling I cannot not think of him, that is called Parama Bhakti. So this is the highest level. But there is a problem here. If you pay attention, you realize. In this Janma, imagine I start Bhakti Yoga with the objective that this Jivatma has to attain moksha. Next Janma should not be there. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, cut. I want to reach moksha. I don't want this Baba Black Sheep anymore. How many times will I keep studying the same thing? I don't want that. So I have this moksha icha. I become a mumukshu. You have heard of the word mumukshu? Mumukshu means the one who desires moksha. The one who loves eating is called bubukshu. Currently we are bubukshu, then we may one day become mumukshu. So if I aspire for moksham, I want moksha. I start bhakti yoga. Krishna gives one condition in Bhagavad Gītā. Yo yo yam yam. And then he continues. Whatever Arjuna, in the deathbed, that last minute when the Jivatma is about to leave the Panchabhautika Sharira, whatever you think of, you shall become that. There is a charitram in Bhagavatam. I have given Bhagavata Saptaham, Narayaniya Saptaham in Balaji Temple of Great Lakes in 2023. Day 2 we get Jadabharata Charitram. Jadabharata thought of the deer. He became the deer. If you think of the nurse, you will become a nurse. If you think of the surgeon, next Janma full residency. So, whatever you think of. So what is the way for moksham? That is where Krishna says, you have to think of me. That is very tricky. See, now when we are now reasonably, fairly well itself, thinking is a problem. Concentration is, we lack concentration. We should be very frank. See, I will be very frank. I don't know how about you. When I recite Gayatri Mantram, first 2 times Gayatri Devi will be there. That's all. Then after that, what will I do next? This is where I am. Maybe you are all fully concentrating on Vaikuntham. You could be. Detroit people are very special. So maybe you are all excellent. But Vishnu Sahasranamam, 25 minutes. Barring 1 minute maybe, 24 minutes is full of some other thought. So when we are in good shape itself, thinking of Bhagavan and his qualities becomes a tough thing. On the deathbed, imagine last minute we don't know where we will be, how we will be. That time I have to think of Bhagavan, then only he will give me moksha. If I think of anything else but him, I will become that, which means Punarjanma will be there. Arjuna said, what kind of condition is this, Krishna? You really want me to attain moksham or not? Because these kind of conditions will not help. That is when Krishna said, there is a way out, Arjuna. If you want this Bhakti Yogam to succeed in this Janma, remember, Bhakti Yoga is a carry forward yoga. In Bhagavatam, there is a story of Gajendra Moksha. That Gajendra, the chief of elephants, propitiates Bhagavan. Why? When it is in distress, it manages to remember its previous Janma. What was the previous Janma? As that of a Pandya king called Indradyumna. So, as Indradyumna, the Pandya king, he began Bhakti Yoga. Because of Agastya Shapam, he became Gajendra. Incidentally, he was one of the rare creatures who managed to remember his previous Janma. So, he continued Bhakti Yoga where he had left in his previous Janma. But not everybody will be, see, next Janma if we take, how will that Janma know that I have begun Bhakti Yoga this year, in this Janma? You won't remember the previous Janma, forget even thinking whether you will remember the previous Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna says, for that the Iha Janma's Bhakti Yoga should fructify. For that Bhakti Yoga to succeed, surrender to me. Yeah. You surrender to me, then that Bhakti Yoga will get fulfilled. 18th chapter, 66th verse. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Beautiful verse. This is one of the rahasyas we learn in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam called Charama Shlokam. Sarva dharman parityajya. I told you, remember, at about 7:25 today, that one of the limitations to Gītā is it can be easily misinterpreted. If you just go by the verse, sarva, all, dharma, dharma, parityajya, abandon all dharma. So Krishna himself says, abandon all dharma. That is how you will interpret. Sarva dharma, parityajya, abandon. Avare vendanuttal. See, there is, I have mentioned about this dish. Any Gujarati speaking astikas here? So in the Gujarati cuisines, which most of them are interesting, one of it is called gundiyo. There is one particular season they make gundiyo. It has got 41 ingredients. Okay. So in Mumbai, where I used to work, one of my good friends who was a Gujarati speaking astika brought gundiyo to me one day. It was super, it was excellent. I asked, how did you make it? She said, I didn't make, my grandmother made. So I said, take me to your grandmother. I went to the grandmother. I love cooking. So I asked, auntie, what did you do? She gave me 41 ingredients. I took it in 4-5 pages. Then she explained that procedure. She explained for at least 20-25 minutes what should be done after what should be done, what should be fried, what should be steamed. Towards the end, after explaining, she said, oh sab chhod do, I will give you, you eat. So Krishna has explained Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, full PhD he has done. Finally he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, leave. It either he should be a bad speaker or we should have interpreted it wrongly. That is why Gītā should be learned from a Sadacharya. Books will always mislead. Parityajya, leave, he doesn't say dharma. He says, whatever is that worry that you have for the completion of dharma, leave it. For that to succeed, surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya, mam ekam. This is where it gets a bit tricky. He says, mam, me. That is fine. Ekam, to me only. Sharanam braja. You have to seek surrender. Braja. Then Arjuna said, "Theek hai. What will you do?" Aham tva, I. That aham, there are 4 lines in the commentary that explain aham. He says I. Who is that I? The one who is beyond karma, the one who is born as a result of ichcha, the one who is the repository of ananta kalyana guna. I, aham, tva, you, the jivatmas, sarva papebhyaha. See, this is very tricky again. Papam in Sanskritam is bad karma. Whatever we have done, that will become bad, negative account. Now in this bad karma, there are 2 types. One is called sanchitam, the other is called prarabdham. So we have taken aparadha sahasra bhajanam. Sanatana Dharma says, now don't ask me video proof. Okay. We believe that we have had plenty of janmas, and it's not sure whether I would have been a man in the previous janma. Not sure if I would have been a human in the previous janma. I could have been a chameleon, I could have become a rhinoceros, I could have become an ant. Different janmas, different bodies, different karma. All the karma that have accrued, both punya and papa, is accrued and that stays in some account. That is called sanchitam. Sanchitam means what you have earned. We have earned papam. So that is called sanchita karma. Now I have to experience one portion of it in this janma. So at the start of this janma, Brahman, through Brahma, will take one handful from the big sack of sanchita karma and give it and say, experience this. That small bunch which I am experiencing now is called prarabdham. That is why when people suffer, they ask, why are you suffering? Ella in prarabdham. Prarabdham means I have to suffer in this janma. Now we may have another question. We are all great mathematicians, right? What if this prarabdham gets over? You have taken one bunch, it gets over. For this, my Acharya used to give a very interesting example. What is that? You tell the example, sir. We will let you know whether it's interesting or not. See, in most households, we have this habit of storing a lot of provisions, groceries. We'll have 2-3 kgs of lot of dals, urad dal, tur dal, then the dhania seeds, then jeera, cumin and mustard seeds, all that will be there. Pepper. What is pepper? Pepper, English pepper. So we have all of that. That will be in big jars. But in traditional kitchens, we will not use those big jars. Because when we cook, our fingers will be moist. So we do not want to spoil an entire batch. So we will have smaller quantities of this in a box, which looks like Sudarshana Chakra. Small cups. It is called Anjarai Petti. Kannadalli enu? Oggarne dabba. Then matte Telugu bhashalo yevendi adi? Popudi? Popala? Popul dabba. Malayalathil endana? Use पढ़ने वेरुम तेंगा ना सर हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं डब्बा okay that anjarai petti dabba is there. Now you are using those ingredients and as you keep cooking that gets exhausted. What will you do next? Similarly, when the prarabdha karma is over, another bunch from sanchita will be filled here. So sanchitam will never get over. Sanchita is accrued. Then you take a bit of it, prarabdham will come. Now it's a very tricky thing. I experience pleasure and pain in my life because of my own karma. That karma which I am experiencing is of sanchita, of prarabdha. Then as prarabdha comes to the finish, another bunch is taken and given. So imagine I do live various janmas, bunches of my sanchita karma is made prarabdha and I experience. So one day sanchitam should get exhausted, correct? Correct, one day. But the point is, as the sanchitam is taken to prarabdha and I experience, while I am living, I do karma, right? So that will again fill that sanchitam basket. That is why we say punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, because this karma cycle never ends. So the only one who's outside karma can get us released out of karma. That is why we say Bhagavad is outside karma, ichchadinam. So Arjuna asked, I have multiple births, I experience prarabdham, sanchitam. What will you do? Aham tva sarva papebhyo. The moment you say, Krishna, you are everything to me, and unconditionally surrender, Arjuna, that moment your sanchita karma will get vanished. See, when prarabdham gets exhausted, you take one bunch from sanchitam. If sanchitam is not there, where what will you do? You cannot go to Sam's Club. Okay? That's all. Sanchita is over because that has been destroyed. Prarabdham I have to experience because in this janma I have to finish. Aham tva sarva papebhyo. Your sanchita will vanish. Your prarabdha will be experienced in this janma because you want moksham towards this janma. Arjuna is pure Indian at heart. He asked, you are taking away my karma. What are you giving me? You are very smart here. See, I don't know, here things will be different. In Bharatadesham, we have this health insurance premium. We have to pay. There will be a coverage limit. They'll say this year, for the premium you pay 45,000 plus 18% Nirvana money charges, GST. So we will give you 5 lakhs coverage. One person whom I met, he said, I'm very upset. I asked, why mama? I didn't use that 5 lakhs this year. For him, his understanding is, he is not happy that he has been healthy. He wants to use that 5. So that is our. So aham tva sarva papebhyo. Arjuna said, you have destroyed my papas. But haath mein kuch nahi mila hai na. Kya dene wale ho tu? Moksha ishyami. I will give you moksha. Because your sanchita is gone. Prarabdha you suffer. Your papas are gone. So there is no next janma. So I will give you moksha. He doesn't stop there. Moksha ishyami. What does he say? Ma shuchaha. What does ma mean? You remember? No. Ma saha sokti. I told you about that bird called Kulinga Pakshi. You remember? Tuesday, right after 8 p.m. Goram Kulinga Shakune Vacheshti. Ma means no. What does Krishna say? Ma shuchaha. Don't worry. When will you tell the other person don't worry? Only if he has worried. Yeah. So the point is, Arjuna was worried. That is why Krishna said, Ma shuchaha, don't worry. He has asked with worry. So what is the other implication? The implication is, when you have surrendered to Krishna unconditionally, you should not worry. See, generally, this is a human habit, right? We tell someone, sir, I would like to be a part of your yatra. Please take my name. If you believe that the person remembers, you will have to forget. I told you yesterday to remember. Do you remember? So we doubt. That doubt should not come to for our relationship with Paramatma. Krishna, I just want to be sure, doubly sure. See, in Bharatadesham, it's a traditional pattern. People who are very conservative by nature, at the same time, very, very not so much of a spendthrift, would keep fixed deposits, FD. So you go to a bank there. Generally, in Prachina Kalam, when we go, the server will be down. So you finally keep that one fixed deposit of 1 lakh, give the nominee, they give you the receipt income. That's all. 5 years later, it will mature. Even if we don't, that will. So that fixed deposit will mature. The next day I go, after keeping that fixed deposit, I go, hello madam, there will be one section in 90, well I was born and I used to go with my grandfather to take that pension amount. They used to read out the token number 214. Then you have to go there. My grandfather will complicate the procedure. He'll say, give me 20 rupee note for 1,000 rupees. Give me 10 rupee note for 2,000 rupees. Give me 100 rupee note for 5,000 rupees. She will take her revenge. So this, now I go to the bank. Previous day I have kept the fixed deposit for 1 lakh. She has given me that receipt. Next day I go. Namaste madam, Anjana madam, how everything is fine? My fixed deposit, is it safe? Yes sir, we gave you the receipt. Okay. Again I go the following day. Fix it. You take back your fixed deposit. One bank employee can't take us doubting her. How can we doubt Paramatma? So you have surrendered to him. Nirbharo nirbhayosmi, says Vedanta Deshika. When you have surrendered, nirbharaha, you should be confident. See, I have done my job. Let's see what Krishna does. I know it's a big question that's hanging on our heads. Let's see. Let him do. Nirbharaha nirbhayosmi. So the 18th chapter, he says, for the bhakti yoga that I have asked you, Arjuna, to fructify, surrender, which is the 18th chapter, 66th verse. But Bhagavad Gītā is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. But the opening verses, so the concluding verses, Sanjaya. See, Krishna and Arjuna's conversation is packed into the dabba. See, if you have got a beautiful solitaire, you will keep it in a dabba. That opening lid is Dhritarashtra, base is Sanjaya, the two solitaire studs is Krishna and Arjuna. Now it has to close. What did that man ask? What is happening between my sons and Pandu's sons? You remember? Now Sanjaya has explained what all Krishna said. Krishna has shown his Vishwarupa. Dekho, Divyam dadami te chakshuhu, I will give you divine pair of eyes. Arjuna, deklo. Arjuna has seen. All this that Arjuna has seen was described in detail by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was amazed. Acha, itna sakshat Paramatma hai kya? Dhritarashtra understood. 18 chapters got over. Last question he asked, who will be? Sanjaya thought, கிட்ட நம்ம போய் வேலை பார்க்குறோம் நம்ம தள்ளெழுத்து எப்படி இருக்கும் இல்லையா இந்த அஷடு கிட்ட இருக்கும். But you know, when your leader is like that, you can't help. So how do we do? Sanjaya had one very good adroit speaking skills. He cannot say, what kind of a rubbish question are you asking? He cannot do that. He says, you have a very good question. Generally, I've told you, whenever people ask questions, appreciate the question. They will feel very happy. What a question, that's really good. Then they will feel very happy. They will never listen to what you say. So Sanjaya said, Dhritarashtra, really profound question. I just can't fathom how you think. So, now Sanjaya said, you know what was his answer? You are asking where is victory? I'll tell you. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever the master of Yoga Shastra Krishna is. Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Wherever the master of archery is Arjuna. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhotir. There lies victory. He has said that your sons will lose. But look at the way he says it. But then Dhritarashtra will get angry, right? How dare you say that, Sanjaya? I am paying you your salary. And you end up saying, even before the Yuddham has commenced, that my sons will lose and Arjuna will win. How does Sanjaya finish? Dhruvani tirmatir mama. This is what my elders have told me. See, you have to be... Navaratri will come. In many houses you will have gulu. You know gulu? We all put a timetable and we have color tea, all that. You are asking about gulu to us. We are all masters of gulu. Now, a handful of households will not have the paddhati of gulu. There will be some families that may not have traditionally gulu. So we may ask, being very innocent people, Ungathala gulu. My mother-in-law has said, no gulu in our house. See, they never said there is no gulu. They said, there is no gulu, my mother-in-law has said. Apriya, mamiyar poita. So, isn't that at an intelligent way. You attribute something to someone and finally that person is not there. So this is how Sanjaya answers. He never says that I realize that Krishna will win. He says wherever the master of yoga, Krishna, and wherever the mastery of archery, which is Arjuna, lies, is their victory, is what my elders have said. Now Dhritarashtra cannot ask where your elders are. Ellaru tsunami la poyita. So look at the way Sanjaya beautifully articulates the answer. See, Bhagavad Gītā is a trick. You have to relish that word, because in our general Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanudhara Tatta Shri Vidya Bhoti Dhruva, that means Sahasranamam is coming to a close. This is our understanding. Yela Putula. Prana is Aduna, Minasha is Krishna. Mandinde, shoot Pandit. You know, in my house, my maternal grandfather used to recite Vishnu Sahasranamam, then he will recite Sri Stuti of Deshika, and he had great attachment for Parvati. He used to recite Lalita Sahasranamam. As a young boy, we used to feel so hungry, and this man will go on and on and on with one shloka. So I remember very well, wherever this Lokatita, Gunatita comes, that means that's a party shoot. Lokatita, Gunatita, Sarvatita, Samantika, that means we are coming to a close. Pandhuka Kusama Prajna, Bala, Leela, Vinodini, that means we'll be ready, he will come and we will eat. So for us, Paritranaya Sadhunam is that micro-oven moment to heat. But when you get into the lingo, the language that Krishna and Vyasa have deployed, you will know how intelligent they were to frame their sentences. Else Dhritarashtra would have fired Sanjaya. He said, Dhruvanitir Matirmama, this is what my elders have said. Now he cannot fire Sanjaya. Sanjaya will say, what did I do? I told you what my elders have said. So Bhagavad Gītā is a treasure trove. Lots of things. Bhagavad Gītā, see, I would have barely explained 4 to 5 verses. Maximum. I've explained Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, 9th chapter, for about 6 hours, 20 verses. It is there in English. I spoke about this in Singapore, so it's there in the YouTube. If you wish to listen how it has to be interpreted, see, that is where I'm again telling you. This has become a fashion. You ask someone, what do you want to listen? Or they will ask, where should I begin? Some people are very open. They'll ask, I have to understand Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism better. Where should I begin? That's a decent question. In my opinion, people think it's a big prestigious thing if they say, I've started learning the Gītā. I've got Gītā book with me and I do read Gītā. If you read Gītā without your exposure to Ramayana and Mahabharata and Bhagavata, it will become a disaster. This is my opinion. Take it. Because Gītā is a tricky topic. If you read Ramayana, Mahabharata, you may think there are the stories, bedtime stories. No, there is Gītā in it. You see Sumitra and Lakshmana, they are karma yogis. You will understand karma yoga through them. If you want to understand what does anger and lust cause, because kamat eva sanjayate. Krishna says anger leads to lust. Lust leads to, so kama, krodha, he says. All this you will see in Kaikeyi. So whatever you see in the Ramayana is a beautiful illustration of Gītā. So when you read Ramayana and the Bharata and the Bhagavata and the Vishnu Purana and then come back to Gītā, every verse Krishna says you will relate it to one character. So there won't be any scope for misinterpretation. If you begin with Gītā and you don't have any knowledge of the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, somehow you feel very prestigious to say that I'm reading the Gītā, then it's a disaster. This is my recipe. If you want to take it, you can take it. Since you can always throw it. There's a dustbin outside. You can throw it and go. This is my suggestion. So don't think that Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, when I tell people, I'll tell Ramayana ma, Gītā choda matilla. So for them, Ramayana is kindergarten. Bhagavad Gītā is PhD, postdoctoral. What do I say? Krishna preached Gītā. Rama lived Gītā. He lived, practiced first, and then preached. That is where our interpretation becomes very important. every day I come with a sankalpam. That only, because they said 2 hours only, 7 to 9. Each day 2 hours, 35 minutes, 45 minutes, 52 minutes. I've asked you very sincerely, SVBF, which is doing a lot of dharmic activities under the grace of the Ubhay Gurus of Sringeri, at the forefront, has organized these lectures. That too on weekdays, but with sheer good cause of Dharma. No ticket whatsoever. And their sole purpose is whatever little I share should reach many years. So please donate generously for all their dharmic activities so that they can bring more people. Tomorrow I will be speaking on Ramachandram Bhavayami from the angle of Kaikeyi, Tara, Mandodari and Shurpanaka. I will be speaking in English. Alongside a Vidushi, a dancer from Jersey, Ramya Ramnarayan, will be dancing. So it's Bhaktāmṛtam. As I speak, they dance. So this is happening for SVBF Dakshina, which is Houston, tomorrow in the evening. Again, I am told it's a free event there as well. So SVBF Houston, if you have relatives, please ask them to check if they can come tomorrow evening. I think it should be after 6:30. It's a weekday. The day after, again it's the same Bhaktāmṛtam at Tampa. And on Sunday in Orlando. So we'll be finishing, and my tour of 21 days, 19 lectures, 11 flights, 4 red-eye will get over on Sunday, and I'll be back in Bharatam. Extremely thankful to Sringeri Matham, SVBF, especially Dharmatma Sri Mani Mama, who has always been very kind towards me in the last 10 plus years. So I'm extremely proud to have been presented this. They have a request, the organizers have a request. They will read a short vote of thanks, and then I will be doing my Mangala Shloka, or I will do my Mangala now, then they will read the vote of thanks. They earnestly request you to sit patiently for 2 minutes, then apde parandullam. And then they have a few instructions. I will conclude my part. Kavita Kika Simhaya Kalyana Gunasharine Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swastif Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubham Astu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kalyana Rupaya Kalau Janana. Why am I reading this? Because Aim for Seva is bringing Agre Pashyami, which is Sriman Narayaniyam, Bhattatri's great bhakti towards Krishna is coming to your city on the 25th of October. It's coming here. It is reaching 11 other venues in different parts of the states. So if you have friends and relatives, they too make it a free event, but they always appreciate donors coming forward and helping their dharmic initiatives. So please get in touch with the Aim for Seva, your local chapter, to know more details. 25th October, it is coming here. Kalyana Rupaya Kalau Jananam Kalyana Datre Karuna Sudhabhe Kambadi Vidya Yudha Satkaraya Vatalaya Disha Namo Namaste Narayana 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 Janaki Kanta Smaranam Janaki Kanta Smaranam
Jai Jai Rama
Gopika Jivana Smaranam
Govinda Govinda. One quick housekeeping announcement. Many of you have had the opportunity to get a picture with Dushyant ji at the end. Some of you are new today. Please give them the first opportunity to take the picture. If you have already taken the picture with Dushyant ji, please wait so that those who have not taken a picture can have the picture first. Before we conclude, we will fail in our duty if we don't propose a vote of thanks. I now request Sitaji, our Joint Secretary, to propose the vote of thanks.
Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. What an amazing discourse. Thank you. The past 4 days have been just out of this world. So, on behalf of SVBF North, I express our heartfelt gratitude to Sri Dushyant Sridhar for immersing us in Bhaktāmṛtam over these 4 enriching days. It's been an honor to have Sri Dushyant Garu during Vajrotsava Bharati, the 75th Vardhanti Mahotsava of Jagadguru Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahasannidhanam is celebrated throughout the year as Vajrotsava Bharati. He was also here at SVBF North to celebrate the 33rd Vardhanti Mahotsava of Jagadguru Sri Vidya Bharati Sannidhanam on Tuesday. We humbly pray to Sharadamba and Ubhaya Guru, Jagadguru to bless Sri Dushyant Sridhar with strength, guidance and divine grace to propagate Sanatana Dharma. Sri Dushyant Sridhar's work aligns beautifully with SVBF's mission, which is under the leadership of our chairman, Dharmatma Sri Subramaniam, fondly known as Mani Mama to many of us. Mani Mama has a lot of respect and appreciation for the work done by Dushyantji. As you already may know, Dushyantji is performing in 3 of our US centers this year. We humbly thank him for that. We also offer a humble pranams to the revered gurus who guided and inspired Sri Dushyant Sridhar in his noble pursuit of sharing Sanatana Dharma with the world. We are not just amazed that he delivered discourses in 26 countries, but also deeply appreciative that the dedication and sacrifices that Sri Dushyant Sridhar has undertaken. The Detroit community is especially grateful for his efforts. We also extend our sincere thanks to his family for the sacrifices and support, without which his global endeavors would not be possible. Our sincere thanks also to Srimati Priya Narayan in Chicago with Greater Chicago Vedic Society for her invaluable assistance in coordinating this event and ensuring its success. Our heartfelt thanks to all of you Astikas who joined us for these 4 enriching days of satsang. We hope you have enjoyed the arrangements and were spiritually enriched. Thank you all for your contributions. If we fell short in any way, we humbly apologize and welcome your feedback. For suggestions or comments, please reach out to any of our committee members or email us at info@svbfnorth.org. We also thank our priests for their endless blessings. Our center functions with the help of all the Guru Bandhu volunteers. From the front desk, kitchen, flower, parking, audiovisual, communication, and religious teams, we thank all of you.
Just a small addition. 2 very quick announcements. One, I would like to thank my hosting family who have been so very loving to me, Sri Balakrishnan and Meenakshi. And one more small request. I have a flight to catch at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and I'm sure I have had the pleasure to take very many photos and signatures, but this is going to take a very long time. Then I have another program tomorrow, so just be sensitive about it, that's all.
Being sensitive to that, we do not also wish to inadvertently miss any of you, hence we are not taking anybody's names. We want to thank all of you. You know who you are. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We pray our Amba and Acharyas to grace us all. Thank you. There are prasadam boxes outside. Please pick one up on your way out. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Yes. Just before we
Oh, yeah,
take
yeah,
off.
absolutely.
Yes.
I also wanted to take your number.
Yes, because I spoke to Dushyant and I told him that we wanted to come to Canada and then he brought up both your names and
yeah,
he
yeah.
said
Are you looking for this? Oh, my.
So I told him I said that, we would love to help and we would definitely try to help to arrange for his coming.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.